far today, we've shown you breakthrough devices and cutting-edge techniques that are changing medicine. My next guest is breaking ground when it comes to heart health. His patients are losing weight, dropping their blood pressure, and getting off medications by breaking what he calls their addiction to starch and sugar. Let's break bread with Dr. Coda Reddy and his patients Tony, Tracy, and Lonnie. Please welcome them to the show this morning. One of the things that obesity does is causes this domino effect of all kinds of other diseases, diabetes, heart disease, a whole bit. It's all connected, stroke, everything. That's right. So you want to kind of cut that off at its knees and address the obesity issue, which a lot of us, it's our addiction to certain foods. That's correct.
It's, as you mentioned, it's an obesity is an epidemic, and addiction is the issue. And basically, it's an addiction to sugar, starch. So what we've done is we come up with a bread. And the bread is basically made from soy and flax. And for example, let me start with Tracy. Tracy came to my office and her blood pressure was 170 systolic, and she was on 4 medications. She was having a hard time controlling it. She switched to the bread and the diet. In 3 months, lost 32 pounds. And her blood pressure normalized. She dropped 3 of the medications. Next is, and actually, Tracy, can you stand up?
And let me just say, and here's the thing that's important. You're not talking... It's a cheer in your little outfit. And sometimes we focus on the wrong thing. We focus on the aesthetic of losing weight. Correct. This was not about the aesthetics of losing weight. No. This is about living. And you don't have to be a stick. You just got to drop that weight. And sometimes a few pounds can make a difference in whether you're needing medication or not.
That is correct. In fact, when you had first seen her 3 months ago, I mean, she was tired, exhausted. But now look at her. When she wakes up, she's alert. And feels great.
Yeah. Did you think that you were going to lose weight with something as simple as some bread?
No.
Okay. How did it work for you? What did it do?
It's really the meat and the vegetables, and if you're a bread eater, then you have the bread, kind of like to have when needed. But just as you eat daily, the meat, the vegetables, the eggs, the avocados, you're full.
Right.
So you don't have the cravings for the sugars and the starches that you had before.
Right, because this replaces
exactly.
that. And, you know, important thing with the diet, your lean meats and your vegetables are not what are making us fat. It's like almost like fat's not making us fat necessarily. It's all those carbohydrates.
That's correct. And if we have it, we have a whole program here. It basically simplifies it. If you look here, basically what do you see? Water, ready bread, fish, lean meat, eggs with yolk, 20% of the time, nuts. All nuts except cashews and pistachios, only 4 fruits, avocado, tomato, lemon, lime, and non-starchy vegetables, spices, exercise, and sunlight for vitamin D. When you do this, you basically drop weight.
Okay, and you're proof of that as well?
Lonnie here lost 25 pounds, and his blood sugar normalized, blood pressure normalized.
Yeah, and what issues were you dealing with, Lonnie, that were kind of scaring you? You knew you had to do something.
Well, my father died of heart disease, so I was concerned about my overall health. And blood pressure was a little bit high, and blood sugar is continuing to elevate, so
the answer for a lot of folks is to say, okay, this is happening here, we'll give you a prescription to address those issues.
Exactly, and this stops the cravings. So if you eat and you like carbohydrates, it's hard to get off of them. It's like candy, and then this enabled me to not have the cravings.
All right, and how much weight do you lose?
90 pounds.
90 pounds.
Yeah. He's the best. Can you stand up? I want you to see him. He lost 90 pounds, and look at the belt.
Wow.
And look at the pants.
You could just wrap that around a couple of times now. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so obviously, dropping 90 pounds, there were some concerns that you had as well. But like you said, you call it an addiction. So for you, it was like an addiction. It was hard to just stop.
It was really, yeah, my father, he was a diabetic. I was scared to death to be a diabetic, you know, so that's why I went to Dr. Ray and said, well, I need to change my life. I need to change diet and lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did.
And his blood pressure normalized, his blood sugar normalized, and he's feeling great, is off medications. And if you look at his pant size, it was 56 expanded. He didn't bring it because he gave it away. But it is now 56 expanded, now it is 46. There's a significant change just on diet alone.
Yeah.
So the Ready Cardiac program basically talks about diet and bread. So bread breaks the addiction. And if you look at the bread, it's simplified. Look at this. You can fold it, roll it, top it, dip it, stuff it, eat it, and beat it. Beat what? High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, obesity. So simple.
Yeah, you know, and I make the point that I made earlier that we kind of got into this thing of what we were doing was treating symptoms
Correct.
as opposed to getting rid of the problem. And, you know, as a cardiologist, you want people to get rid of the problem first. If they got to show up in the, you know, OR because they're having,
That's
you know, or ER because they're having a heart attack, that's one thing, but get rid of the problem while you have a chance.
And the story about the bread is we took 40 diabetics and put them on corn tortilla. And what happened was their blood sugar baseline was 120, went up to 210 after 1 hour. Second hour dropped to 180. 2.5 hours was 160. The same 40 diabetic patients, we gave them this bread, 120 baseline, 1 hour 120. Second hour dropped to 110. Third hour, 2.5 hours later, it was 104. Now imagine this, if you take the bread with meat, normal blood sugar, bread with eggs, normal blood sugar, bread with guacamole, normal blood sugar, bread with non-starchy vegetables and spices, normal blood sugar. So how can you gain weight? If you don't eat anything with sugar and starch, don't worry about calories. Calories don't make you fat as long as they do not come from sugar, starch.
Yeah, and that's kind of a thing, you know, kind of a myth that we got into, that that fat makes you fat. Fat stores differently in the body or is used differently in the body.
That's
it's
correct.
the sugars and carbohydrates, things like that, that
And
actually
it's
are
a
stored as fat, and it's a craving. How many of you, when you went on this diet, were afraid that you were going to miss something in the beginning?
Me?
Yeah. Okay, you too?
No, you know, it's not a diet. I eat more than I did before. I just eat differently.
Yeah, and I think we get the word diet. It's almost like an evil word. It's really, the diet means what foods are you eating as opposed to an action of dieting.
And the philosophy is simple. Eat to lose, never starve to lose. Eat and lose, not starve and lose. That's a philosophy.
I eat more on that with that than I was eating before.
Yeah.
Okay, so you lost 90, you lost
25.
25
and you lost
and
32.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to find out more about Dr. Reddy and cardiac wellness, visit ReddyCardiology.com. He also has a website all about the bread. It's ReddyBread.com. You can also call 281-491-0044. And when we come back, one group in our studio audience is helping people to get healthy.